That year during the earthquake, my sister and I were buried in the ruins. The rescue workers said that the terrain was complex, and there was a high probability of a collapse after rescuing one of us. My aunt shouted without hesitation to save my sister first. My sister also called out to be saved first, pleading for rescue. The firefighters kept emphasizing not to move, but my sister didn't listen and forcefully pushed the movable items around. Later, I was crushed to death by the collapsing heavy objects. Now the wonderful story begins. When I opened my eyes again, I returned to the day of the earthquake. I woke up from my bed with a start and glanced at the date on my phone. It was the day of the earthquake. There were still 2 hours until the earthquake would occur at 2 a.m., and it was exactly 12 midnight at that moment. Without much thought, I put on my shoes and rushed outside. So many people died in the earthquake in my previous life. Since I've been reborn, I can't just stand by and watch people die. At least I can save one person if possible. I started knocking on doors from the first floor, house by house. Once I confirmed that the sleeping people had woken up, I continued to knock on the next door. By the time I had woken up all the residents on the 7th-floor building, only the last 5 minutes remained. I sprinted back home. There were still 2 minutes left. When the earthquake happened in my previous life, I missed the best escape time because I tried to save my sister. And this time, I'll give the chance to save someone to my mother, who loves my sister the most. I ran towards my parents' room and shouted, "Mom and Dad, there's going to be an earthquake. Wake up quickly." My parents were woken up by me. I looked at the time. There were the last 40 seconds. I had called my sister just now, but I couldn't wake her up no matter how hard I tried. What should I do? My parents were about to question who said there was going to be an earthquake. Before they could finish their words, the building started to shake. I urged, "What should we do? My sister is still sleeping." My mother, with a look of horror on her face, rushed towards my sister's room and shouted, "Ruru, wake up quickly. Hurry up, wake up. There's an earthquake." My father pulled me and ran downstairs. The earthquake was so fierce that it left no time for hesitation. Just as my father and I escaped from the building, with a loud bang, the building collapsed. My mother and sister were trapped in the ruins. All around were the exclamations and wails of people. A harsh buzzing sound rang in my ears. Everything in front of me became blurred, and the scenes from my previous life emerged in my mind. On that day when the building started to shake, I quickly got up and had just run to the door. I saw that my sister was still sound asleep. I went to pull her and call her, but she was in a deep sleep and couldn't be woken up. My aunt had already escaped, and I missed the chance to escape. Both my sister and I were trapped underneath. After daybreak, the rescue workers found my sister and me. I heard my mother's distressed call, but she called my sister's name. "Ruru, hold on. Someone will come to save you soon. You mustn't have an accident. You have to hold on." The firefighters surveyed the terrain and then told my mother that the terrain here was complex. After one person was rescued, there was a high likelihood of a secondary collapse. Their suggestion was to rescue the one on the left first, where the location was more stable. It was easier to carry out the rescue. My sister and I both heard what the rescue workers said. I almost didn't need to guess to know that my mother definitely wouldn't rescue me first. From childhood to adulthood, my sister has always been the apple of my mother's eye, while I, the second-born child, have never been well-liked since I was young. As expected, my mother firmly replied to save my sister, the one on the right, the sister in white. At this moment my sister also shouted, "Mom, save me. My foot hurts so much. Save me first, Mom." I felt icy cold all over. Through the tiny gaps, I saw my mother's worried expression, which was directly focused on my sister. The firefighters moved very gently. They were doing their best to save both of us. During this time they kept reminding my sister not to move. "If you move, your sister may be crushed underneath." My sister was slowly pulled out, but she didn't listen to the rescue workers. Instead, she kept pushing around with her hands. Ignoring the loud scolding of the rescue workers, she pushed down everything that could be pushed. The moment my sister was rescued, I felt a great force pressing on me, making it hard for me to breathe and causing me unbearable pain. I shouted loudly, "Mom, save me. Mom, it hurts so much. Mom, save me." The rescuers sped up the rescue. They called for more people to help pull me out together, but I heard my mother say to them, "Don't save the one inside. She'll be a wreck if she's saved. I don't have the energy to take care of a disabled person." I watched as the hole that let in the light was completely blocked. Just like my life, it completely dissipated. I lay in the dark ruins waiting for my death in fear. I don't know how long I waited. Finally, I was so sleepy that I closed my eyes. When I opened my eyes again, I returned to the day of the earthquake. This time, I want you to experience being chosen and abandoned. My father's exclamation woke me up from my memories. I pulled my father back and said, "Dad, be careful of aftershocks. Let's go to a spacious place." The rescue workers will come soon. Mom and sister will be fine. My father was so frightened that he was in a daze. Yes, for anyone experiencing such a thing for the first time, it would feel like the sky was falling and the earth was cracking. But I was different. I had also died once in this earthquake. I wasn't afraid anymore. Every day I live now is a gain. The rescue workers arrived soon. My father rushed over to beg them to save people. Unfortunately, the original building had become a pile of ruins, and it was impossible to tell where my mother and sister were buried. But I knew. I deliberately led the rescue workers in the opposite direction. Coincidentally, we heard an ant's cry for help, and they rescued the ant. 2 more hours passed. It took a full 6 hours from the time we were buried until we were discovered. I shouted, "Dad, Mom is here." Dad called the rescue uncles. They surveyed the terrain, observed the situation inside, and told us the unfortunate news. The terrain here is complex. Once one person is rescued, there is a high possibility of a secondary collapse. How familiar these words are. I looked through the gap at my sister's pale face and my mother's terrified expression. My father hesitated. Both are the ones he loves deeply. How should he make a choice? Unlike me, they made a decision quickly. Humph, I heard my sister shouting, "Dad, save me. Dad, I don't want to die. Dad, I can earn money when I grow up. I can get married. I can support you in your old age. Mom is just a woman who does housework. You can find another one, right? I'm more valuable than Mom, Dad." I watched as my mother's expression became extremely angry. She lowered her head and held back her laughter. "Didn't you expect that the daughter you doted on like a treasure sees you like this? In her eyes, you're just a nanny who can be replaced at any time." Dad made a decision. Save my daughter. Mom was abandoned. She roared, "Zhang Jiming, don't even think about remarrying. If I die, I won't let you off even as a ghost. And you Zhang Qingru, I misjudged you. I didn't expect you to be so selfish." My sister's legs were pinned down by the rubble. The pain made her lose her mind. So what if I'm selfish? What I said is the truth. I'm more valuable than you. Dad's choice of me is wise. My mother's resentful expression was really pleasing to see. But how could I let Mom die like this? I shouted inside, Mom, don't be afraid. I will definitely save you. Hold on, Mom. Don't give up, Mom. I will definitely save you." What warm words. Compared with my sister, I'm simply a filial daughter. But only I know that I just want to deepen her resentment towards my sister. The terrain was complex, and the rescue uncles exerted a great deal of effort to rescue my sister. At the moment she was pulled out, I only noticed my sister's legs, which had turned black. I heard the ambulance staff say, "Her legs will probably need to be amputated." My sister was dragged out, and there was no collapse on Mom's side. Maybe it's because the position where I was staying was different, or maybe my sister didn't move around this time. Mom was also rescued. Both of them were sent to the hospital. Dad accompanied my sister and I accompanied Mom. I'm really looking forward to it. Will Mom loathe my sister when she wakes up? Or will she still have only my sister in her heart even after being insulted and stabbed by her? Looking at Mom, who was unconscious in the hospital bed, I stared at her deeply. This was the first time I could look at her face so carefully since I was a child. My mother had never looked at me properly. Grandma said that my mother wanted a son when she gave birth to the second child. Unfortunately, I'm a girl. My mother was angry and left me at Grandma's house as soon as I was born. Grandma had no choice but couldn't just watch me starve to death. Coincidentally, there were 2 aunts in the village who had just given birth. I managed to survive until I was 8 years old and it was time to go to primary school. Grandma called Dad, and Dad took me to the town to study. My sister is 2 years older than me. When I was in the 1st grade, my sister was in the 3rd grade. I had no access to anything related to study when I was a child. I struggled a lot in the 1st grade and my grades were always at the bottom. My mother didn't like me. I had to help Mom with housework every day when I got home, such as washing dishes, doing laundry, sweeping the floor and mopping the floor. These were my daily tasks. My study time was compressed to the extreme, and my grades still didn't improve until junior high school. My sister was always among the top 3 in the class, and my parents doted on her like the apple of their eyes. My birthday is 1 month later than my sister's. My parents never celebrated my birthday, and I wasn't even allowed to eat my sister's birthday cake. They said I would take away my sister's good luck. Now my sister's legs were amputated, and her face was disfigured by the steel bars. I wonder if my parents will still love her. I kept staring at Mom's face. My eyes changed from resentment to concern because she woke up. She looked at me, first in a daze and then relieved. I stepped forward and asked with concern, "Mom, are you feeling uncomfortable now that you're awake? I'll call the doctor for you." My mother pulled me and the first thing she asked was, "How's your sister?" I almost couldn't hold back my expression. Sister is not doing well. Her legs were amputated, and her face was disfigured. She still hasn't woken up. My mother fell silent. Lying in the hospital bed, she didn't say a word. It was hard to tell if she was sad or happy. Maybe she was thinking, or maybe she was weighing things up. On the day Mom was discharged from the hospital, my sister just woke up. Lying in the hospital bed, she didn't know what expression to make when she saw that Mom didn't die. Dad wasn't in the hospital. He seemed to be trying to solve the problem of our accommodation. My sister didn't know that her legs had been amputated, nor did she know that there were 2 long centipede-like scars on her face. After hesitating for a long time, my sister said, "Mom, it's good that you're okay. It's the best that we're all alive, right? Don't blame me. I was really scared at that time." Mom's expression was very ugly. She would never forget the despair of that moment of life and death. I walked up to Mom, took her arm and said, "You just woke up. Don't stand all the time. Sit down and rest." I didn't say the rest of the words. I knew that adults don't like to hear unlucky words. I stopped at the right moment and it worked. Mom's eyes became more and more disgusted when she looked at my sister. My sister glared at me resentfully. "Zhang Jiao, stop sowing discord. Mom will never like you." In front of Mom, her words seemed to remind Mom. Mom suddenly turned around and took my hand. Her eyes turned red instantly. "I didn't raise you in vain. It's my fault. I treated you badly before. Don't worry, I will make it up to you." I smiled and held Mom's hand back. I turned my head slightly and showed a triumphant smile to my sister. But in my heart, I wondered if Mom would really keep her word. When it was time for dinner, Dad came back from outside. He carried 3 boxes of boxed meals. Each of us had one, but my sister didn't. She questioned, "Why don't I have one?" Dad shoveled the rice and said, "You just had an operation and were in a coma for several days. The doctor said you should eat something easy to digest. Dad will go to the canteen to buy you porridge later." My sister was confused. "What operation? Where did I have an operation?" The 3 of us who were eating were all stunned. My sister still didn't know that her legs were gone. She was left with only half of her body. No one answered her question. Her emotions gradually broke down, and her questioning voice became louder and louder. "Tell me, where did I have an operation?" My mother was impatient. She walked over and lifted the quilt. The bed was empty and her legs were gone. My sister opened her mouth but couldn't say anything. Tears rolled down her face like big pearls. She had a silent breakdown. My mother seemed not satisfied with the stimulation. She took a photo of her face with her phone and showed it to her. My sister completely broke down. She covered her face and screamed, which drew the nurses scolding. "Stop shouting. This is a hospital. Don't disturb other patients' rest." I saw my sister's face turn pale. She couldn't believe it and kept shaking her head, saying, "It's impossible. It can't be." I lowered my head and ate. Watching the confrontation between Mom and her, I thought that the resentment in Mom's heart was really deep. It must be very uncomfortable to be looked down upon by the daughter she loved the most and be heartlessly abandoned by her. I gnawed on the chicken leg and listened to Mom's mockery. "Do you think you can live a happy life just because you were saved? You even asked your dad to find another woman. If your dad finds a stepmother with your appearance, will your dad still care about you?" At that time, Dad put down the boxed meal and walked to Mom's side to show his loyalty. "Wife, I never thought of giving up on you. I was just Shintung, our daughter's plea." Mom glared at Dad. That day, I only heard Yao Yao say that I shouldn't give up. I only heard Yao Yao say that she would come to save me. "Don't treat me like a fool." Our house collapsed, and Dad managed to temporarily solve the accommodation problem by asking for help. After my sister was discharged from the hospital, we moved to a makeshift shed. My sister's situation was special, and she needed someone to take care of her closely. My mother didn't want to touch her at all, and my father, being a man, was not convenient. So this important task fell on my shoulders. My sister seemed to enjoy the way I busied myself for her, which made me a little unhappy. One day my sister said she wanted to go to the toilet. I deliberately washed the dishes outside and pretended not to hear. Mom and Dad weren't at home, and my sister was alone in the room. After washing the dishes, I went to dry the clothes I washed in the morning in the sun. When Mom came back and saw me working, she said she would help me. Suddenly we heard a thud. Mom and I rushed in. My sister was covered in feces and urine and had fallen to the ground. Mom walked out in disgust. She took several deep breaths before coming back in. Dad also came back at this time. He called me over and said that there was a school I could transfer to. I left quickly. Mom and my sister were left in the shed. My sister was extremely excited. When Mom came to help her, she pushed Mom hard. Mom got dirty all over, but she still dragged her into the plastic bathtub. My sister kept crying. Mom endured it and washed her clean. They didn't say a word, but the caring actions were real. How could a mother abandon her own daughter? But what about me? Why did she abandon me? Dad managed to solve the problem of my schooling. Now I'm the only one in the family who can go to school normally, so of course he had to consider me. The school I transferred to was in Beijing, a big city I never thought I would go to. That night, Dad and Mom discussed. "Anyway, the house is gone. We have to rent a house. We might as well go to Beijing. There are more opportunities in a big city." Mom agreed. Our family moved to Beijing and rented a small 2-bedroom apartment. Mom had one room and I had one. My sister slept in the living room. When we first arrived, my sister was dissatisfied with the arrangement and always made a scene in the living room. At first, Mom would reason with her, but later, when my sister made trouble again, they directly started hitting her. Looking at my sister gradually becoming obedient, I didn't know how I felt. Isn't this what my daily life used to be? Why does she look so wronged? My parents would occasionally beat me with sticks and I had gotten used to it. Why did my sister look so miserable? The new school was really good. My classmates knew I was a victim of the earthquake and showed great concern for me. The teacher would often give me extra lessons. I quickly adapted to the new environment. After going home, I didn't have to do housework anymore. I had much more time for studying, and my grades rose rapidly. Every time I brought home a full-mark test paper, my mother would praise me. So this was the feeling of being noticed and loved. My sister became more and more silent. She just stared at our happy family. In order to make my sister able to take care of herself, my father got her a pair of prosthetics. Unfortunately, the materials were of poor quality, and my sister cried out in pain as soon as she put them on. My father didn't coddle her. This is how prosthetics are. If you want to stand up, you have to endure the pain and overcome it. I don't know if it was because of the setbacks during this period, but my sister really endured it. In the daytime, before my father went to work, He would send my sister to the rehabilitation center, and my mother would pick her up at noon. Just like this, after a while my sister could really stand up. Although she walked unsteadily, it was a huge change. The day my sister could stand up and walk, my parents' attitude towards her changed obviously. The way they looked at my sister was so familiar, and it was as if I had returned to the days before the earthquake. They began to pay attention to my sister's condition, and inquired about whether there was a school she could enter. My sister's grades used to be better than mine. Since I could get full marks in every subject, my sister would definitely do better than me. I could feel their genuine joy. I didn't pay much attention to them and focused on my study. My top priority now was to do well in my studies and pave the way for my future. My father somehow managed to get my sister into our school. What I couldn't understand was that my sister, who was supposed to be in the 3rd year of high school, was in the same class as me, a freshman. My mother said to me, "You have to take care of your sister. She has trouble moving. You should run errands for her when it comes to things like eating and drinking." I obediently agreed. My mother touched my head with satisfaction. This kind of intimate action was something I had never experienced before. I looked at my sister's bed in the living room and fell into deep thought. Would my sister regain her favor? Even in her current state, would my parents still dote on her? Why and on what basis? The first day my sister came to school, her pitiful state won a lot of sympathy. As soon as the class was over, everyone surrounded her, and she was extremely proud. I heard her talking to her classmates about how miserable she was at home. She told them that my parents doted on me and didn't love her. The way everyone looked at me changed. Some people even threw garbage into my desk and scribbled on my textbooks. The homework I handed in always disappeared inexplicably. The teacher also talked to me and asked me why I didn't hand in my homework. I lowered my head without arguing. The teacher did ideological work on me and told me to correct my study attitude. I nodded in agreement. When I went out, I happened to see my sister standing at the door. I ignored her and walked towards the classroom. The originally noisy classroom fell silent the moment I walked in. I didn't go back to my seat but walked to the podium. I wrote down the names of the people who had bullied me in the past few days on the blackboard. The teacher just asked me why I didn't hand in my homework. Guess if I told on you. Don't think that no one will know what you've done. The cameras in the classroom are not for nothing. If I report you, the teacher will definitely investigate. None of the people on this blackboard can escape. Don't stand on the moral high ground and say you're acting on behalf of justice. Why don't you go catch the murderers who kill and set fires outside? You only know how to play these petty tricks in school. If you have a sense of justice, why don't you study hard and become a policeman? There are thousands of people in China waiting for you to protect them. Reflect on your current behavior. Is this chivalry? The class bell rang. I raised my hand and erased the names on the blackboard one by one. Finally, I glanced at the people who had bullied me. The classmate sitting behind me grabbed me the moment I sat down. There was glue on the chair. I took a look. It was true. There was glue. My sister didn't come back just then. I exchanged chairs with her. The teacher came back with my sister. My sister looked very unhappy. The teacher came in with a stack of test papers. Everyone recalled the monthly exam last week, and didn't notice Zhang Qingru, who sat down directly. The teacher read out the grades from the highest to the lowest. I went up to get my paper first. It was another full-mark test paper. After everyone had taken their papers, only Zhang Qingru was left. She lay on the table looking heartbroken. The teacher asked someone to pass the paper to her. Everyone who saw her test paper was stunned. She got 12 points. The top student in the county before, but now in an ordinary school in Beijing, she only got 12 points in math. This was the last self-study class. The teacher spent the whole class analyzing the wrong questions on the test paper. After class, everyone quickly packed their school bags and left. Only Zhang Qingru looked so sad that she couldn't move. I packed my things and was about to leave. She called me. "Aren't you going to take care of me? Organize my school bag for me, and correct the wrong questions on this paper for me." I ignored her and stood up to leave, but I didn't go far. I stood at the door to see her break down alone. She leaned on the table and tried to stand up, but she found that her pants were stuck to the chair. Shame, grievance, and unwillingness welled up in her heart, and she cried pitifully in the classroom. I went to the teacher and told her what had happened. The teacher quickly informed the parents to come. My sister was bullied, and my mother was angry and asked the teacher for an explanation. "I entrusted my daughter to you. You should take good care of her. She's already so pitiful, and now she's being bullied at school. Don't you as teachers care at all?" My sister wanted to speak, but I pulled her. "Sister, I'll take you to the toilet to change your pants." She shook me off. "Stop pretending to be nice. It's all your fault that I'm like this." The teacher also had a temper. She came over and helped me up. "Mrs. Zhang, now that the matter has been exposed, I also want to tell you my opinion. You've seen Qingrou's situation. It's not convenient for her to study in our school. She depends on Zhang Jiao for everything. Zhang Jiao used to have excellent grades. Since Qingru came this week, Jiao hasn't handed in her homework several times. She's a student, and the most urgent thing for her is to study. You've given her so much responsibility that it's distracted her. If this continues, both children will be delayed." My mother glared at me. Her grades used to be poor, but Qingru used to be among the top students in the class. I let her study in this school for her future. The teacher took out the last exam results. "Take a look for yourself. It's obvious which child has better grades." My sister was anxious and stepped forward. She tore up the report card. "Mom, I don't want to leave. I want to stay here. I can take care of myself and I will catch up with my studies. Just give me some time, and I will definitely make it." The teacher didn't persuade her anymore and sighed before leaving. When I got home, I heard my parents' conversation. My father didn't agree with the teacher's suggestion. After all, he had pulled some strings to get my sister into the school with great difficulty. My mother was hesitant. The gap between my sisters and my grades was huge. It was obvious who should be cultivated. My sister wore the prosthetics every day for school, and the joint was red and swollen. She endured the pain and disinfected herself. Just then my mother came out and saw me. I heard her say distressedly, "My daughter. She was so good before. How did she become like this?" My sister cried and so did I. I was seriously doing exercises in my room. I wanted to move up and leave this home. My sister was still allowed to study at the school. My mother promised to give her a semester to catch up with me. She was full of confidence. "Mom, don't worry. Not to mention a semester, I can catch up with her in a month." But the truth slapped her in the face. My sister was 2 years older than me, and should have been in the 3rd year of high school. But my mother, in order to let me take care of her, and because we were from out of town and couldn't take the college entrance examination here even if she was in the 3rd year of high school, my father got her into the 1st year of high school. Logically, she should have learned these knowledge points. But the final exam results made my parents fall silent. I ranked 7th in the grade, and my sister ranked 92nd out of 100 students. My parents discussed it overnight and finally decided to send my sister to a school for the disabled. My sister didn't want to go. After making a big scene, she finally compromised. The day my sister entered the school for the disabled, I was there. I watched her limping in, and then I took my parents' arms and left. This scene was just seen by my sister who was at the turning. She almost went crazy, screaming and struggling to leave. But since the guardian had left, she wasn't allowed to leave the school alone. After my sister left the school, I stabilized my position among the top 5 in the grade. My parents were very satisfied with my grades. On weekends they would take me out to play. They would buy me new clothes, take me to the movies and go to restaurants with me. These were things that had never happened before. My mother often said to me, "Yao Yao is so good. She can take care of herself so well." But was that really the case? Didn't they ever care about me in their hearts? My sister was not peaceful at the school for the disabled. She didn't want to stay there because she didn't think of herself as a disabled person from the bottom of her heart. She slept in class and made a scene with the teacher when she was supposed to be sleeping. She asked the parents to come to school every now and then. Once, she even went on a hunger strike and fainted in the dormitory. The teacher thought there was something more to it, and took her to the school's psychological counseling room for a simple evaluation. The psychological teacher thought my sister showed signs of depression. When my mother learned about it, she felt extremely distressed and thought she had paid too little attention to her. I couldn't understand. Clearly, she had been so disgusted with my sister before. Why just a few months later did she start to care about her again? Even if her own daughter almost killed her, didn't she hate her? The answer was obvious. Not only did she not hate, but she also felt guilty. My sister was brought back home. My mother hugged her and apologized. "It's Mom's fault. If Mom had pulled you to run faster at that time, we wouldn't have been crushed underneath. How could you have gotten depression? What has happened to you is a natural disaster. Don't blame yourself. It's not your fault." My sister shouted. "Then whose fault is it?" "It's hers, Zhang Jiao's fault. If she had woken me up, how could I have been crushed? She deliberately harmed me on purpose. I didn't defend myself. My parents knew the truth. You were sound asleep. I called you for a long time. Don't you remember? What fault does your sister have? She was the first to discover the earthquake. She came to wake us up and asked us to call you. Stop making a scene. Since you don't want to go to school, then we'll just stay at home. We won't go anywhere. Taking good care of your health is more important than anything else." Such warmth really seemed like a family, but my sister's condition didn't improve at all. Even after coming back home, she still didn't like to eat. It was no use even when my parents coaxed her. Once my father lost his patience and smashed the bowl. Make a scene, make a scene. Look how well behaved your sister is. She always gets the first place. It's already very difficult for us to settle down in a place like Beijing coming from a small county. Can't you just be quiet and learn from your sister?" My sister's emotions completely broke down because of these words. She limped towards the outside saying, "Since I've embarrassed you, then I'll die. I don't want to live anymore. Is it okay if I die? I shouldn't have been saved in the first place. I should have died there." Only then did my mother realize the seriousness of the problem and took my sister to the mental hospital again. The doctor directly admitted my sister to the hospital. The commotion at home had nothing to do with me. I would always hide in my room, eavesdrop, and then continue studying. When a person devotes all their energy to one thing, infinite possibilities can always be unleashed. In the year of the college entrance examination, I performed exceptionally well and was admitted to Peking University. When I returned to Beijing again, I took my admission notice to see my sister. In my senior year of high school, in order to better adapt to the college entrance examination, I went back to my hometown and lived at my aunt's house. My sister's condition improved, and she was picked up by my parents and brought back to the rental house. When I returned home after the college entrance examination, I found that my room had become my sister's. My parents were about to explain when I waved my hand. "It's okay. Anyway, I'll live on campus in college." I showed them my admission notice, and both of them beamed with joy. My sister made a sound of smashing things in the room. I looked at the closed door. She was throwing a tantrum. My father called my sister out. "Come out quickly. Your sister is here. Come and see what great school your sister has been admitted to. Peking University. The ancestral graves of our Zhang family are smoking with good fortune. Finally, we've brought honor to the Zhang family. Well done. What do you want? Dad will reward you." I waved my hand again. "No need. In the future, I still need you to pay my tuition fees. I don't lack anything. My parents looked at me with infinite emotion. If only your sister were half as sensible as you. These words angered the person in the room. She pushed the door open. I was stunned when I saw her. This person was my sister. My mother saw my confusion and explained. Your sister said she wanted to get plastic surgery to remove the scars. But the scars didn't go away. Instead, she got double eyelid surgery. Then she cried and made a scene, wanting to get a nose job one moment and cheekbone reduction the next. This scar on her face has been treated 3 times, but it's still so obvious. I told her not to go to those small clinics but to go to a bigger hospital. She just wouldn't listen. My sister exploded. Do you have the money for a big hospital? You keep saying it's for my own good, but I haven't seen you do anything for me. I just asked you for some money, and you keep talking about it every day. My father shook his head and walked away. He was extremely disappointed in this daughter. My mother still had some attachment and was also afraid that she would continue to seek death. Okay, stop talking. Let's go out for a meal to celebrate, shall we? My sister turned her face and went into the room without going. My parents and I went out for a meal. My father insisted on buying me a new mobile phone as a reward, and I accepted it. After starting college, I seldom went home. Once I returned to my student identity, I would devote myself wholeheartedly. But college life was more free than I had imagined. I could choose clubs that I was interested in, made many excellent classmates, and also met my boyfriend. That was my first love, green and tender. After graduating from college, he proposed to me and I agreed. We went to meet his parents together. His parents were very nice and treated me well. We discussed going home to meet my parents together. This meeting revealed a problem. My father naturally admired and was happy, but my mother had different thoughts. After my boyfriend left, my mother came to talk to me. Yao, mom is very satisfied with your boyfriend. But can you give him to your sister? Look, your sister is not willing to go out now, let alone find a boyfriend. She's not like you with a healthy body and a high education, able to meet such an excellent boy. Give this boyfriend to your sister, and you can find a better one for yourself, okay? I thought it was ridiculous. How could an adult say such childish words? Mom, a boyfriend is not an item that can be given away. You can't just give him to someone else. My mother was unhappy. How can you be so selfish? You can't always think about yourself. You also have to consider your sister. She grabbed my hand. Her hand was clearly warm, but I felt cold to the bottom of my heart. Selfish. In that earthquake, there was only one chance to survive and they all chose to abandon you. Now you say I'm selfish. Mom, you've lived your whole life. Open your eyes and look around. You have 2 daughters. In your heart, no matter what happens to me and my sister, you will unconditionally choose my sister, right? Don't deny it in a hurry. You can't lie to me. When I was a child, no matter whether it was something good or bad, you never thought of me. Now that I've grown up, I don't expect you to change. I just ask you not to interfere in my life. What you didn't give me, I can give it to myself. I will be responsible for my own life. The same goes for my sister. If you keep spoiling her like this, she will never grow up. I've said everything I need to say. I picked up my bag and left that so-called home. My boyfriend was waiting for me downstairs. He put his arm around me and we got in the car. My sister watched us leave through the window. Our wedding was held half a year later. My parents came, but my sister didn't. My married life was beautiful and sweet, and my work was also going smoothly. People who work hard will always do well. As for my sister, I received a call from my mother a year later, saying that my sister was missing. I asked for leave from the company and planned to go home to look for her with my parents. Just downstairs of the company, I saw my sister. She was holding a dagger in her hand, and her eyes were blood red. You deliberately took revenge on me, didn't you? You were reborn, weren't you? Because mom and dad didn't choose you and you died in the ruins, now you deliberately came to take revenge on me, didn't you? You deliberately didn't come to wake me up, right? It must be. You bitch. You took away the life that should have been mine. Everything you have now should have been mine. I'm going to kill you, kill you. She rushed towards me and was restrained by the security guards at the door. My sister went crazy and slashed around. 2 security guards were stabbed several times. The police came and arrested her. But my mother came to plead with me. Your sister was crazy to do such a stupid thing. Don't sue her, okay? She's already so pitiful. Please forgive her. I shook off my mother's hand. She stabbed the 2 security guards, not me. The person you should plead with is not me. My sister's behavior had already constituted a criminal case and she couldn't escape. At first, my mother took my sister's medical records from the mental hospital, intending to escape legal sanctions on the grounds of mental illness. But after identification, my sister was of sound mind when she committed the crime. One of the 2 security guards died. My sister was sentenced to death. On the day of her execution, I went. We looked at each other and didn't say a word. I watched her die in front of me. The prison guard handed me my sister's suicide note. There were only a few words on it. Kill Zhang Jiao. The end.